UFC 276, your boy Joe, MMA Investing right here. You're the hair yourself. We're pumped up for this. This is a super stat card. We had a very difficult time trying to decide which fights we should do, which fights we should decipher. We chose them. I know you're excited for this. Let's jump right into it. You're on a tear right now, so let's see how this goes. First one we're doing is Pedro Munoz against Sugar Sean O'Malley. I know you're on that sugar train. So how do you see this going?
My boy, the Sugar Show. Yeah. Sean knows what he's doing. In my opinion, I think he's in the top 10 now. He's doing it very smart, picking winnable fights. And I think Pedro Munoz is just that very winnable fight within that top 10 ranking for Sugar Show here. Don't get me wrong, Pedro can win this fight for sure. But I think his only real path in this fight is to get those low calf kicks working. As we've seen before, Sean's been hurt to the legs with the Cheeto fight. He broke his ankle, I think, not once, but twice, I think. So his legs and his durability seem to be a little bit questionable, to say the least. So I think Pedro's going to go to that game plan. I'd be shocked if he does. Because in just pure boxing at range, Sugar Show's going to pick him apart. Pedro's really slow. He's plotty. He comes forward. He tries to get in the pocket, and that's going to play right in Sean's hands. He's going to be too fast, too long, too rangy. He's going to hit him with 3 punches before Pedro can get that lead hook going. What's going to happen is Pedro's going to crash the pocket. He's going to look to, unleash a couple hooks. But like I said, Sean's going to move laterally. He's going to hit him once or twice, move out of the pocket, circle back, do it again, rinse and repeat. Before you know it, Pedro's going to be really busted up. And the only real way to neutralize that is you're going to get those calf kicks working early. It's just Pedro doesn't throw them as much as he used to. I think what we see a lot of the times in these older guys that have been around for a long time, when they're really reliant on leg kicks and calf kicks, their legs get busted up. Your shins can't take that beating for a long amount of time. Look at Jose Aldo. Same thing happened to him. He just doesn't throw leg kicks much anymore. So, yeah, in the last couple of fights, Pedro hasn't done it as much, but he better do it this fight. So we'll see. But I think it's a very winnable fight for Sean, as I mentioned. Pedro is live. He's a tough guy. He's been around for a while. He can grapple. He can bang. He can knock you out. Super tough to finish, though. I don't see Sugar Show finishing this guy. His chin's made of granite. But I do think Sean just pieces him up for 3 rounds. There might be some close moments in there. But, I think Sean ends up, getting a pretty decisive victory here. It might be 28-28 or 29-28, 37-27, but I think it's a pretty clear victory for Sean.
Yeah, no, like you said before, Sugar Sean, he's doing things the right way. He said it himself. 100%. He said, I don't want to fight anybody in the top 10 for what? I'll just keep fighting, these guys slowly going up the ladder, building his name. He's still getting paid. I don't know if you watch his podcast or listen to it. He's killing it on his podcast too.
Yep.
He has this co-host who looks exactly like fucking Canelo Alvarez. He looks exactly like him.
Oh, that's his coach. What's his name? Tim Welch, I think.
Bro, he looks just like Canelo, bro. It's fucking crazy. Like all the fans say that too. And like, dude, I thought it was when I first saw the thumbnail. I'm like, how do you get Canelo on there? I'm like, oh, never mind. It's hilarious though. But yeah, he's killing it. He's doing things the right way. I know you said that, Munoz's game and all that. I still wouldn't be surprised seeing another Sugar Sean highlight just because that's just what he does. His little flashy stuff that he does. You just never know. But yeah, I 100% think Sugar Sean's taking this too. I mean, he's doing things the right way. And the UFC's being smart with it too, because there isn't any point in throwing him in the fire anymore. He's without Connor, without Masvidal, Izzy, I guess you could say, Sugar Sean can be your guy for the next
100%.
5, who knows how many more years. Young, he connects with the young audience, great on social media, podcasts. He's doing the whole thing. So that's the guy you got Patty the Batty too, who's taking the world by storm. But skill for skill, I mean, Sugar Sean's the real deal. We'll get into Patty later on.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk shit on Patty.
Go on a tangent, yeah.
But yeah, Sugar Sean for sure. Next one, I think this might be the one I'm looking forward to the most on this card, bro. Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira. This is gonna be interesting, bro. Super interesting because Sean Strickland, we talked about this before, been on the tear of his life right now. He's on a great win streak. If there is any kind of title implications in his career, this is it. And Dana White said this is a title, the number 1 contender spot for the championship. He said that, I think, today or yesterday.
Really?
So, yes, this one's crazy. And, of course, Alex Perez, an insane kickboxer. He's known for knocking out Izzy and all that. He can definitely do that to Strickland as well. But this one's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be for sure interesting. I want to see how Strickland is taking this. Strickland, I've seen him on interviews saying he wants to fight. He wanted to fight Alex because he can get knocked out. He loves the violence and all that. I'm very curious to see if Sean's actually going to strike with him though, because I think that'd be very dangerous. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I think we all know what's going on here. What is this? Alex Pereira's 7th fight within MMA, not even just UFC. I think this is his 3rd UFC fight, 7th overall MMA fight. We all know the narrative, right? He knocked out Izzy once in kickboxing, and I think he beat him by decision the other time. Izzy doesn't have any new blood in the division, and the UFC very desperately wants Alex Pereira to get a title shot here. Alex Pereira, the problem is he's 35, 36 years old. He doesn't have much time left. They got to make this fight quick. They got to fast track Pereira to a title shot. That's exactly what they're doing. They're giving him top 15 guys that are winnable matchups. Andreas Michailidis, good little break-in fight. Give him Bruno, I don't know, Blundado, I think his name was. Another winnable fight, but right out the top 15 guy. Looks good on your resume. Now he gets a top 5 guy in Sean Strickland, right? So pretty crazy jump in competition. One of the craziest jumps in competition you'll ever see. How does this fight break down? Like you said, does Sean strike with him? Does he not? We will see. The thing is, Sean, he might be a stupid guy in the head. You know, he plays that card, right? He plays like he's an idiot. He's some psychopath. His fight IQ is really high, though. He's smart inside that octagon. He knows what he's doing. Defensively, he's very good on the feet. People have a very hard time hitting him. Even statistically, I think he's one of the top 10 guys in the UFC when it comes to, pure defense statistically. So I think he'll be able to stay competitive on the feet. He'll be able to stay safe. Now, when he mixes in the grappling, that's when the problem I think will arise for Pereira. We saw in his first UFC fight, he was held up to the cage by Michailidis, who's not very good the whole first round. Sean has a very good grappling skill set. He's a high-level Brazilian jiu-jitsu player, pretty damn good wrestling. We saw him take Uriah Hall down a few times, and Uriah Hall has really good takedown defense statistically. I don't see why he couldn't be able to take Pereira down here. The thing is, he's going to have to mix it in with the striking. He can't just go stoop blind takedown. This wrestling is not good enough to do that. But if he stays in the feet, lulls Pereira into a striking kickboxing kind of fight, slowly pushes him to the cage and then shoots a double to the cage, that's where you can get him down. And once you get him down, he might be able to beat him up a lot, sap that gas tank. If this fight stays in the feet, of course, you have to favor Pereira, 9 times out of 10. Doesn't mean Sean can't win on the feet, but it'd be a very, very hard task to do so. Sean opened up like a 2-1 underdog, and I'm really bummed that I didn't get on that line. I wanted to hammer Sean at like plus 180, plus 190, because I thought that was complete disrespect. But now it's closer down. It's almost like a pick 'em fight now. Pereira's like a slight favorite, but still, I do favor Sean in this fight for all the reasons. He's tough, very hard guy to finish, great gas tank, good grappling, very competent on the feet, good boxing, good defense. Pereira's just a kickboxer. We've seen time and time again guys that are specialists come to MMA and have a tough time because it's a versatile game. There's a lot more to worry about than just kicks and punches. So yeah, I think Sean does get this fight to the ground at some point. I think he does implement a little dirty clinch work and just kind of get the fight where just make it ugly, make it dirty, get him to the ground and make Pereira uncomfortable.
Nailed it on the button. It depends what Sean decides to do. I technically think the ball's in his court, because if he wants to strike with him, I think it's very dangerous. Like you said, it's super dangerous. If he does want to make it dirty and wrestle him and all that, that's layups all day for him, using basketball references, because Pereira's for the most part one-dimensional in that aspect. Tremendous kickboxer and all that. So that's all it comes down to, is what does Sean want to do? Does he want to use his ego and strike with him, or like you said, he's pretty smart when it comes to fighting?
He is.
So if he decides to do that, to make it dirty, wrestle and all that, I don't know what Alex is gonna do. To be honest, he might panic. He might. I don't know what he's gonna do. So it really depends what Sean wants to do on this. Ball's definitely in his court, though.
Yeah.
Next one, and this card is so stacked. I forgot about this one even. Volkanovski, Holloway. I mean, Holloway's arguably the best boxer in the UFC, bro. I mean, arguably, he has some insane hands, volume for days. Volkanovski's just proven to be, this tank of a human that's just steamrolling everybody. This is a fantastic fight. This is the third time they fought, right?
Yeah.
Third time they're going to fight. And Man, God, dude, every time, when they fought before the first time, you see Max vulnerable and all that. But then when you see Max fight anybody else, he just tears them to pieces. See, I get back on that Max train. Oh, bro, Max is he's that he's an insane boxer. So, but then I look back at the old fights and see how Volkanovski's handled him. This is a tremendous fight. I'm glad they're fighting again. How do you see this one going? What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, no, I'll try to keep this one as short as I can, man. This is, like you said, the third fight. First two fights, pretty damn competitive. First fight was a clear win for Volk. A lot of people thought Max won the second fight.
Yeah.
I think that fight could have gone either way, right? Max dropped him in the first round and the second round, so that kind of makes people believe that Max won. Here's the thing, though. Max, I think he's peaked at this point. I think he's gotten to the best he can. He's taken a lot of damage.
A lot, bro. That's my worry too.
The most, I would say, the most maybe out of anybody in the UFC right now. Like even on paper, I think he has like one of the top strikes absorbed. Hasn't been dropped once, which is fucking insane, right?
Nuts.
Yair Rodriguez, his last fight, he was getting tuned up on the feet against Yair Rodriguez. He actually had to go to his wrestling a little bit there to win that fight. That fight was very, very competitive on the feet, to say the least, and he took a shit ton of damage in that fight too. Volk keeps looking better and better. We saw him make the Korean Zombie look like he'd even belong in the cage with them. Max is a rhythm fighter, and Poirier said that. Poirier is one to reveal that. He's a rhythm fighter. He likes to get a rhythm going, boom, 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 piece you up, get the rhythm going again. It's like very on beat. It's on rhythm. Volk does a very good job of disrupting that. Max can't get that rhythm going. He can't get those wild combinations going. He can't keep that pressure on his face. Volk's too good. He hits too hard. His leg kicks are too hard. He's just very technically sound, and his reach is crazy good for a shorter guy. Volk's style and the way he's built is just very good, or very tailored to be able to be a longer, taller guy like a Max Holloway, just the way it kind of breaks down. I think Max is going to have a hell of a time with Volk in the third fight. I think it's going to be a clear, decisive victory for Volk, to be as blunt as I can here and just get to the point. I think Volk might even, I don't know if he finishes him. I have this itch in the back of my neck saying he might finish him here. But again, it's Max Holloway. But I do think Volk maybe drops Max for the first time in his career at some point. I think he hits him with a flush right hand and puts Max into the ass. Volk keeps getting better and better, like I said. And I just don't think anybody's beating Volkanovski for a while. He has that grappling in his back pocket too. And man, the guy's just been sitting down on his punches. He looks vicious right now. Max is not going to be, barring those knockdowns, even in the second fight. I mean, Volk would have clearly won that fight too. I just don't think Max is going to be able to get much going. It's going to be a close fight. Obviously, it's going to be competitive. It's Max fucking Holloway. But I think it's going to be a clear victory for Volk here. I think what Max does after that, I don't know. That's going to be remain to be seen. But it's kind of like, what now? You lost to a guy 3 times. Unless somebody else can beat him, it's like, what now? But I do think Max is kind of peaked. But I think Volk's getting better still. And I think we're going to see that on that fight card.
That's a statement. If you see Volk tearing it down and knocking Max down for his first time in his career, the statement. But yes, Volk could look like an unstoppable beast so far. So we'll see. It should be fun. Max Holloway is always entertaining, and Volk's been this unstoppable force lately. So it should be real fun. Main event: Izzy Adesanya, Jared Cannonier. Personally, I think Izzy just flat out wins. Not saying anything bad about Cannonier. Cannonier's for sure game. He's that new young prospect that Izzy hasn't faced yet. But how do you see this one going?
Yeah, without being like rude or whatever about it, but I think this is his Izzy's easiest title defense so far. Honestly, okay, I think Cannonier is very good. I think he's a very good fighter. I just think stylistically, this is just a really easy fight for Izzy. Cannonier's kind of a power boxer in the sense. He has good kicks. He's athletic. He's strong. Don't get me wrong, but he presents no grappling threat. He presents no real anything unique on the feet that Izzy hasn't seen before. Like I said, he has some power. He has some good leg kicks. That's really about it. And, good luck getting those off against a guy like Izzy, one of the highest level accredited kickboxers we've seen in MMA. The question is this fight going to be boring? Is it going to be like another Izzy performance like the last couple of fights where he's just kind of sitting at range, kicking his leg, jabbing him up? Or is Izzy going to look to make a statement this fight and really put Cannonier away? And even if he doesn't put him away, really put a beat down on the guy and just kind of prove he's the best. Nobody's beating this guy right now. I think that's what Izzy's going to look to do. I think he knows he can make a statement against Cannonier. I think he might start a little bit slow, break the guy down a little bit. But I think by like rounds 3, 4, 5, I think we see Izzy really starting to piece the guy up and maybe even finish him. We shall see. Obviously, that remains to be seen. But like I said, I think it's just like stylistically, and I don't want to disrespect Cannonier because, like I said, he's really good. Just the way these fights break down and the way these guys fight, I just think it's a pretty clear victory here for Izzy.
Yeah, and that's why I said in the beginning, I just think Izzy flat out wins.
Yeah.
Now, I was gonna say too, it reminds me somewhat of a boxing main event when it's like Triple G versus so and so. All you know is Triple G fights. Canelo versus somebody, you know Canelo's fighting. If you want to keep going with it, you have what's his name? Tyson Fury, although he was fighting what's his name? He had that trilogy
Wilder.
with Deontay Wilder. That was cool. You knew who both of those guys were. But a lot of times in boxing, you know who
A
the main guy
star.
is, and he's fighting
Yeah.
somebody.
Some
That's what this
rando.
fight kind of feels like.
Yeah.
Um, to me, anyways. But yeah, you never know. I mean, kind of, puncher's chance and all that. But yeah,
That's
I
it.
think
That's
Izzy
just
just
it.
flat out wins. I hope it is a statement
Puncher's
win.
chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as you were saying, because if this was another boring performance, I think it would look really, really bad on Izzy's part.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
I think not to cut you off there, I was just gonna say I think
yeah,
Izzy has more to lose in terms of the fans this card than the actual fight. I think that's more of a risk for him because if he comes out there and has another boring ass performance, kicking the guy's leg and throwing a jab for 5 rounds, he's losing a lot of stock already. He's on a fat contract with the UFC. It's not going to look good. And people are catching on to that. People are getting sick of it. So he better come out here and make a statement. That could be his downfall too, right? He might do a little bit more than you think he should be and get caught by something because Cannonier has some heat in his hands. But I think Izzy has the capabilities and skill set to be able to really put a statement win here and make it interesting, make it entertaining. We'll see. I hope it's not a boring leg kick fest, but it's my opinion.
definitely looking forward to it. UFC 276, banger card, awesome fight card. We can't wait. Go watch it. Go subscribe. MMA Investing, Joe, here in the official Here in the Beer Pod, YouTube, Instagram, all of that. Patreon. Go do it on MMA Investing. This is the hair.